3 of my Tamiya Cascadia build. We're going to talk about the MFC-01, how to program it, how to hook it up to the truck, and programming a computer radio and using the computer radio with the MFC-01. It's a little bit complicated, but it's important to note you only have to do it once. Once it's set, it stays that way. I'd like to talk a little bit about the theory of the MFC system and using it with radios that have standard trims and digital trims, and then we're going to go into the digital trim radio. The way the MFC works is you've got your steering here, and then of course your turn signals will go on, and you have your horn functions here. When you slide this trim, then you have other functions like turning on the lights, put it back in the center, and then the horn functions return. Here you have your throttle. That's pretty normal. And normally you set it up so the shifting is here, and then this is a function for shutting the engine off or a function for using the motorized support legs. So you use the trim switches along with these switches to work the functions. We're going to use a computer radio. We don't have, turn this on here, I've set this radio up so it has a centering stick on the left, and I have another video on how to do that. But what happens is when we want to use the secondary function and we don't have the slider, we'd have to use this, and it takes forever. So it really is not very conducive to running the systems, plus you can't even hardly tell where the center is. So when you're running the truck, it just doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is show you how to set up the radio so you can have a normal function here, flip this switch, and then you have the extended function. I'm also going to show you how to decide whether to set up your shifting here or 1, 2, 3 gears here, and what the advantages and disadvantages are for each way. So I'm going to get started with that. The first thing I'm going to do is show you how to go into the programming mode. Press the OK button and hold it. We have a system and a setup. We use the up button. Go to the setup, press enter, and then we have a whole bunch of selections up and down. Whoop. Whole bunch of selections, and we use these up and down buttons to go through those selections. So let's start with model name. We hit OK, and then there's a slider here. We use the up and down buttons to go. So we'll use C, flips over to the next one. So I'm going to put the word Cascadia in here, and then I'll come back and show you how to proceed. Okay, you can see I've got the word Cascadia in there. So what I do is I press and hold the cancel button until it goes back to system, and then I've saved that. So that's the functions we use. OK to go into the menu, up and down arrows to scroll through things, and then press and hold the cancel button to save them, or press the cancel button quickly to select them. Now my decision is going to be how I want to program the radio. Switch 2, this one right here, I'm going to assign this dual rate switch like I talked about so you can extend the function. I'm going to put my shifting on this. Now because I'm doing that, I won't have the extended function, so I won't be able to use the engine shutdown from the transmitter, the shutdown sound, and I won't be able to use the support leg mode. But I can, if you want to have motorized support legs, but I can put the support leg mode on another switch and operate directly through the receiver, bypassing the MFC. So I can still have motorized support legs, but what I can't have is the engine shutdown sound. It's not that big a deal to me, so I'm going to put the transmission here. I could put the transmission here and use the extended functions here to get with this rotary knob, to get the shutdown sounds. But I don't like feeling around for the gears on this, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this one for motorized support legs, this one for throttle, this one for horn and lights functions, and this one for steering. So that's how I'm going to program the radio. Back to work on the radio. We'll flip it on here. we'll go into our menu. We're going to go to the setup menu, and I want to show you something before I get started, and that is the display function. The display function shows you where each channel is. Very handy. You don't have to hook up a servo to see what's going on. So you can see my knobs here are hooked up to channel 5 and 6. Okay, but we want to hook up this switch, and so we can use that for the shifting. So what we do is we go to auxiliary channels right here, click OK, and we see channel 5, and the source is VRA, which is, this is VRA, it's marked. This one is SWC, so we're going to scroll through here until it says SWC, press and hold the cancel button. Now when we go to the display, you can see that channel 5 here, low, medium, and high gear. So that's how you assign a channel to a switch. You can pretty much assign any channel to any switch. So now that we're done with that, we're going to figure out how to use this dual rate switch. So there, what we do is we go down to dual rate, hit OK. Channel 1 is our steering. We don't want that one, so we want channel 2. Click OK. And then the rate. Now, when it's up, we want the reduced rate, and when it's down, we want the extended rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce this rate to 75%. Okay, and then we're going to hold that by holding the cancel button. So now we're going to go back to the display, and we'll move this channel 2. See channel 2 here? See, it's not going all the way to the end. If we flip that, now it goes all the way to the end. So in this mode, we've got not the full movement. In this mode, we have the full movement. So that's what the same effect as having the trim switch. And that's how we do that. So now that basically completes the programming of the radio for the way I want to do it. If you want to put your shift on channel 4, you would do the same thing. You would go to the display, you would go to the dual rate, hit OK, you would scroll here to channel 4, and then you would set switch 1 at 75% and switch 2 at 100%. And that switch then would extend the range of both this channel and this channel, which would be the way to do it if you're using this one for the shifting. Now, for motorized support legs, I'm going to show you that later, but basically we can hook that directly through to like this channel or this channel and bypass the MFC-01. So that's the basic radio programming. Now we'll get into using it with the MFC. Hooking the receiver to the MFC-01 is pretty simple. Our input for our steering goes into number 1. This is just an input, and this is like your horn and your lights. That goes in channel number 2. Throttle input goes in channel number 3. And your shifting input goes to channel number 4 if you're using the left stick, and I put it in channel number 5 because remember that's where we assigned our shifting. So we've got those 4 plugged in. Later we're going to plug our support legs into channel number 7. So now we'll hook this baby up and see what we've got. We talked about programming the transmitter. Now we're going to talk about programming the MFC. It looks complicated, it looks a mess because I've got all these lights taped together here, but it's really not that bad. What we're going to do is there's a reset and a programming button right here on the MFC, SW1. So we're going to turn the transmitter on, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to move this switch to the center because that's our shift switch instead of this. So it'll be in the center position. Then we're going to go through a programming process with this, and everything should work. So let's start by turning on the MFC. So we'll hold the button down and turn it on. Okay, now our light up here is flashing. It should flash for about 10 seconds and then everything should reset. Okay, there we go. Volume. Leave it down to a reasonable level. So now everything is reset and it's from scratch. So now what we have to do is program it. So we push the button for 1 second. And the light will flash. Engine sound will shut off. Now we go through a sequence on the transmitter. So we move this stick up and then down. We move this stick down and then up. This stick up and then down. And this stick right and left. Now the light should blink slowly. We push the button again. And it should restart. Okay, let's see how it worked. We should have a right turn. There's our servo. Right and left. And you'll see the turn signals right and left. Okay. Transmission, low gear, medium, high gear. Okay, throttle. Turn the sound up a little. It's important to note that the MFC has a safety feature where you can't go from forward to reverse instantly. It has to sit in neutral for a second before it'll reverse. Now we have our horn. Short blast, long blast. Okay, now if we switch into our dual rate mode, we have a sequence of lights. So it goes through 3 different sequences. I don't have all the lights plugged in, but 1, 2, 3. You can hear our hazard lights. You see those going. Turn those off here. And that's all there is to it. Everything's working fine, and it's programmed just the way we wanted it. Now, I want to show you how to hook up a servo to do the remote operation trailer legs and hitching and unhitching. So I'll come back in a second and we'll do that. Right now, turn the transmitter off. We'll get our engine shut down sounds, and that's all there is to it. I want to show you how to set this up now for motorized support legs if you want to use that option. And the way we do that, right now I'm going to assign them to this one, switch B. So just like before, we go into the menu, we go to the setup menu, we go down to auxiliary channels, press enter to go to channel 6, and then this is SWB. Right there. Hold the cancel button to set it. Go back to the menu. Now I've got my servo for my motorized support legs. I plug that directly into the receiver on channel 6, bypassing the MFC, and now I've got that switch for my motorized support legs. That way you can have another channel. I could have hooked it to here, I could have hooked it to a knob, it doesn't matter. But now I've got all the functions, shifting, steering, all my additional functions, throttle. So I'm actually using 5 channels of the radio now instead of 4. And that pretty much completes this programming on the MFC. I'm going to, this will be my 3rd video, I'm going to end it here, and then the next one will be installing the MFC and all those functions into the truck. But I did want to lay it out here on the bench for you to show you kind of the programming and especially the radio programming. So that's all for part 3, and I'll keep working on it. We'll get some more going later. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the great comments I'm getting, and we'd just love to have you subscribe. We're going to be doing lots more Tamiya trucks, Tamiya tanks, HG models, trucks, plastic models. I'm a big plastic model builder. I'm going to be doing sci-fi, lighting, all kinds of fun stuff. So keep tuned. Thank you so much.